everyone, and welcome to Facebook Live. We have some people who don't know how to properly wear masks, but we're going to forgive him because it's his birthday. So in the chat, be sure to tell Eric Fisher happy birthday. I am Jessica Beck. I am the director of Prosper You, and I am so excited to be with two of my inspirations for this industry. One is my boss, Mr. Fisher. Thank you, Eric, for joining us. And we also have Alex Ioannou. Now, Alex was a salon owner. He has been a platform artist. He is an educator. He's done product lines. I mean, you name it. He has done just about anything and everything in this industry. And we are so excited to have both of you here as we get to talk some about career pathing. If any of you who are joining have questions, be sure to leave them in the comments and I will get to them as soon as I can. But Alex and Eric, thank you so much.
Great to be here,
Jessica. Thank you. And thank you, Eric, for having me. By the way, happy birthday. You look really good for 31.
I'm 34.
It's incredible.
Those are dog years, I'm afraid.
Yeah, there you go. So we've known each other for quite some time, Mr. Fisher. Right?
Well, you know, and I got to say, you and I talk on the phone. You're in Chicago. You've been all over the world, but we talk at least twice a week. And you've been to the school how many times? A dozen times, maybe more?
Yes. I love it.
We love you. So just so I can set the stage for this conversation we're having with you, the first time I heard about Alex, I was with a brand new company called Zotos, and it was out of Connecticut. And we were actually doing the shoots and everything in New York City. And Luis Alvarez was there with me and Mike Baker, a bunch of guys, you know, Johnny Plants, Steve Ketchum, and Nadine Kepke. It was a great nucleus. John Donato, a bunch of great guys, and everybody kept talking about how this guy from London was he was a Greek guy, but we didn't hold that against you. We didn't hold that against you. But what a talented guy you were, and we should get you for our traveling team. And lo and behold, you know, Luis Alvarez started his own company with Dennis Lubin, 20-some years ago. And, you know, I was one of the first guys and you were one of the first guys. So it was like old home week, you know, and we had known each other. And I respected your work, and you were at Bedell Sassoons there in London. And you were always so, you know, so gifted, so talented, such an inspiration to our students. And I know, you know, you're working now with Nick Arrojo some, and, you know, different lines, and you're traveling a great deal, and you're, you know, salon owner, 3 salons, I think, at one time in Chicago, which is not an easy place to do business. Sure. And yeah, so you are just historic, man. So welcome aboard. Great to have you on this call.
Thank you so much, Eric. That's so nice. You know, it's so funny because we talk about how long we've known each other, and it has been well over 30 years, which is probably longer than most of the people that are listening to this thing, right? So, you know, and I'm sure the last thing they wanted was to hear another old dude tell them what they should be doing and what they shouldn't be doing. But you know, one of the most important things I think you can do as a not just as a student, because you're always a student, as a hairdresser, is to really network and listen to people that have kind of gone around the block a few times. You know, I always like to talk to Eric and listen to what he's going to say. You know, it's like listening to the Beatles talk about music. You know, I mean, it's very, very important. The history, where they've been, how they've done it, what it took for them to get to the place that they've gotten. Does everyone know who the Beatles are, by the way? I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of youngsters.
I think most people.
Okay, good. So anyway, this is my coronavirus beard. I usually don't have a beard, but I decided to not shave since lockdown, and this is what we've ended up with. And my wife has been calling me Santa. So that's good. Yeah.
I kind of like it. I think it looks good.
Thank you very much. So, you know, yes, I was a salon owner for the past 28 years, and I had a salon called Trio Salon downtown Chicago. And right before this whole lockdown thing, early February, I closed the doors. I was trying to negotiate with my landlord, and of course, the rents were going to be just astronomical. So I decided, we're not going to do this anymore. And I found a gentleman that I've known for a while. His name is George Long, and he owns George Charles Salon, located on Chicago's fashionable Oak Street. And we moved and we merged. And part of the deal was that he hired everyone that I had, which he agreed. He has a big space with just a few people working for him. And so he agreed to hire everyone, and we all moved over. February the 8th was the last day at Trio, which was kind of like a bittersweet closing, really. But given the circumstances now, it's been a blessing in disguise. And then, unfortunately, March 19th, we had to go into lockdown. So, but we're all itching to get back. So, as I'm sure most of you guys are.
Oh yeah, we are absolutely dying. Yeah, and we're thankful that you ran a wonderful show there. You hired many of our students from Wichita, and they always loved working for you. And you're such a good teacher. And I love the fact that you did class all the time, like we do. You do class, and we're such old school analog kind of guys, but we cut hair the old-fashioned great way. And I always love, like you said, if I'm a Beatle, you're a Rolling Stone, man. I always love cut hair. It's magnificent. It's art. It's precision, and it's old school. And unfortunately, kind of like roller sets, some of those things are going away, and it's really, really sad.
Right. You know what? This is it's a career, right? It's like, and you have to love it. It's a great way to be around creative, fun, inspiring people. It's a great way to make a living. But just like with everything else, you got to be good at it. You got to practice. You got to work at it. You have to be engaged, right? You have to be professional. You got to do your homework. I always say, and excuse the pun, there are no shortcuts in hairdressing, right? So it's longevity, right? You have to, you're really a good hairdresser only after you've been doing it for 10 years or more, right? Only then can you say you've really experienced most hair textures and most personalities and stuff. The nice thing about our industry now and with technology is that those 10 years can become shorter. As long as you apply yourself, right? Because you can do online learning until, you're blue in the face. And, I always like to look at stuff that I don't like as well, right? It's kind of an oxymoron, but I learn from people that don't do things that I like. Does that make sense? Because then I know what I don't like as opposed to what I just like, right? You have to develop your own personality, your own person if you want to, succeed in this industry. I think it's very, very important. You can't, be like anyone else, right?
And you don't need to attract every type of client in your book either. And I know that you working for Vidal Sassoon, cut short hair, cut strong hair, and your clientele likes good, short, strong hair. And, you're charging over $100 a haircut. You're making great money and doing the work that you want to do, which you don't sacrifice. I think when you're young, you got to say, the shingle's out. I'll take anybody. You get a little older like you and me, you can be a little bit more discriminating. I've been fortunate that, in my career for the last probably, 10, 15 years, I got rid of anybody I didn't like, I had a personality conflict with, and anybody with really super, actually that's not true. I have 2 girls that have super long hair. I really love them. One's a therapist, and so that's where I get my monthly session from her.
And we need that too.
I love talking to her, and I always run behind, and I have somebody else blow her out. So, but I think that's one thing. You reach a certain age, and you say, "I'm not doing kids. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that," and you deserve that. You paid your dues, and.
So let me ask a question to that though, because you say it's a certain age, but would you say it's an actual physical age, like you're so many years old or you've been in the industry for so long? Or do you think it has more to do with the reputation and the demand that you've built versus necessarily how long you've actually been doing this?
I think a lot of that is, you know, your prices determine who you end up doing as well, I think. So your prices go up depending on how busy you are. So it's always supply and demand, right? So the busier you are, the more you can charge. The more you charge, the less people can afford you. So you know, your demographic changes to become those people that, you know, can afford the $100, $150, $200 haircut. And maybe they're not as fun as, you know, your young clients that will let you do whatever you want to do. That's where teaching comes in, and where you can still keep relevant and still, you know, keep your foot in the door, as they say, you know, because otherwise it gets boring too if you're not participating, right? And I think being boring is, you know, the end of your career. So.
You know, I love that you said that, because I think I said this on a call. I remember being in London and in Covent Garden and going to see Trevor Sorby, you know, 4-time British Hairdresser of the Year. And I go, and I've known him off and on. He's such a gentleman. Always gives you the time of day. He's a wonderful guy. And I go, Trevor, I mean, I was, I don't know, probably in my mid-20s. I said, I can't believe that your prices are so cheap. You're so famous. Why aren't you charging 10 times the amount? He said, Eric, you know, I love doing kids that want to shave their heads and wear disconnections and great concaves and want purple. And he said, I have so much fun all day. Now, when I do a show, you know, I charge $20,000 a day. So I make plenty of money. You know, don't worry about me with income, but I charge what I want to. So I get the kind of clientele that I want to, which I think.
And that's so key, really, isn't it? It's kind of like, you know, I was on a Zoom call with the students from the Arojo school in New York. And there was a gentleman that asked a question, and he wanted to know, you know, how can he get into traveling and, you know, doing celebrities and all of that stuff. And, you know what's interesting is that they come to you, really, you know, as youngsters, we feel like we have to pursue that. But if you're good at what you do and you develop a reputation, the celebrities will come to you because they've heard about you, right? So it's kind of like the reverse, as opposed to having to drive yourself crazy chasing people around. So, you know, my advice is stick with what you're doing. Keep learning, keep getting better, get faster. Develop your eye for shape and balance and precision and finishing hair properly. And then it'll be interesting to see, you know, how your career evolves that way, right? So, well, you, Eric, you know, you're like in Wichita, right? And people are like, Wichita? Where the hell is that? You know, but, you know, you're like this international superstar. I mean, it's, you know, everyone knows of Eric Fisher and, you know, the people that work there. And that is like such a huge accomplishment and an amazing feat, you know.
I think, you know, it's interesting because, and you and I've had this discussion a million times, we're still curious about, you know, how things happen, how haircuts are created. And I don't think there's a haircut that there's not one haircut you haven't done, and you've done the most brilliant work and disconnections, a little graduated by it. It's just fabulous. It's just unbelievable. But we talk about hair and texture and photography and the old greats and what they did. And, you know, there's still, and I think when you go flat is because you lose that passion, you lose that connection, or, and I always say this, you haven't hit your sweet spot in your career. You know, you're not good enough. You can't see well enough. But once you get to that sweet spot, then it's like a drug. You just want more and more and more of it. You know? And,
absolutely.
You know, you drink the Kool-Aid and wow, this is, I love this profession. Like I'm into photography right now. You know, every morning I watch a documentary about a famous photographer, guys that I've never heard about before from the 18th to the early 19th century that are so fabulous. And I was watching this thing about this guy named Stiglitz and put himself out there and loved it. It was broke. And then all of a sudden, after years, the guy catches on and people respect him and they understand him. And then he becomes, rich and famous. But a lot of people can't stay the course. They drop out. They don't like it. And I hate that because I love this business so much that, well, me, I try to talk everybody into going to beauty school. I think it's the best in the world.
Well, it's interesting what you just said. I think many times people wear, blinkers, like, the things on a horse, right? And all they can see is what's in front, right? And in this industry, and maybe in every industry, you got to take those blinkers off. You got to be able to have a panoramic vision because it's all encompassing, right? If you can't see to your left or to your right, then you really miss the big picture. And I think taking those blinkers off, not limiting yourself, learn a little bit about everything. And I think once you get a taste, then you can develop your passion and, what you really want to focus on. Maybe it's just color. Maybe it's just color. Maybe it's both. Maybe it's styling. Who knows, But I think once you get a little bit of taste of everything, I think that will help shape your career. And talking to these old folks and these old fogies, reading books, watching haircut videos. My wife is a hairdresser too, and she's riding her Peloton bike and she's watching some haircut video, and she always tells me how great it was, and I'm like, well, what about me?
Are you married to the same woman?
Exactly.
My wife's been distancing for years with me. I mean, this is no change. I mean.
Now, one of the things that both of you talked about was, finding that type of clientele, finding what you're passionate about. That when you first start out, you may have to take pretty much any service that comes in because we're trying to fill our books. We're trying to, build a steady clientele, and then we can kind of start to focus in. How did you find or determine what your focus was? What was it about precision hair cutting? I mean, both of you are more so, I would say, on the precision hair cutting side of the hair industry. But what was it that triggered in you or you felt that you're like, this is where I want to focus?
Sure. I mean, for me, one way that I built my clientele to answer your question in a roundabout way, one way that I built my clientele was to go after the clients that no one else wanted to do, right? The difficult clients. Maybe the hair was really fine, or maybe the hair was really thick, or whatever the case may be. Those were the ones that I wanted to go after because everyone knew they had difficult hair. So with a little tweak here and a little tweak there, I was able to make them look better. And then of course everyone was like, wow, this guy must be really, really good. And that's not necessarily the case. It's just that I pushed myself out of my comfort zone to kind of tackle something like that. It didn't always work out. You have to be prepared to make some mistakes. And I think that that's key. Even when you're teaching and you're doing a demonstration, you have to be prepared to take a couple of risks and make some mistakes. The cutting aspect for me, quite honestly, it's really terrible for me to say, but I just didn't have the patience to sit there and do a highlight with the same client. I don't want to spend 2 hours with someone. So the haircut was really a quick, easy way for me to kind of make my transformation and touch as many people as possible. But I also like the breakdown of the haircut a lot more. I was never into chemistry and stuff like that, but and honestly, I didn't really understand the whole thing about geometrics either. But I really appreciate it and I love it now. And so my when I cut hair, it's a very geometric type of fashion. And mastering the classics is probably the number one advice that I would give anyone out there that is starting in this career, or not necessarily just starting. If you're been if you've been doing this for a while, you have to master the classics and understand what those classics are all about and why they function, because that is the foundation for everything else that you do, whether it's color or updos or, you know, some deconstructed haircut. The classics are the foundation. They're the things that, you know, give your shape balance and proper weight distribution and all of that stuff. So
I love that. I will never forget, just to hop back onto something you said, that you were so confident always because you were so good. And I remember we had a model together. And I can't remember if it was the New York show or Chicago show. And I said, I passed on her because her hairline was so funky. Yeah. And I said, man, that hairline is, woo, one side goes up, one side goes down. You looked at me, he says, it's no problem for me. And I knew that you could handle it no matter what the situation was. You had so much confidence in your work, and lo and behold, it was a masterpiece. But I love that. And I want to redress something too, that, you know, you and I love hair and passion, but I've got people that work in my company that love people. And they don't care who they are, what they do, what their hair's like. They don't really want to build a masterpiece with hair every time. They have a masterpiece with conversation.
Yes.
And so relationship driven. They love. And guess what? They're busy. They're busier than I know people that are great cutters that are not busy.
Absolutely.
They just don't have that relationship. They're not likable. They don't have that likability. So, and I'm a relationship guy too. I love people, you know. Sometimes I hold on to people and I should get rid of them, but I hold on to them just because I like them so much. Right. You know, they have 6 hairs on their head and they're like, what do? I go, I feel guilty about charging you for a haircut, you know, but we like each other so much.
Sure.
And, you know, during this period, I'm getting checks from clients that say, I knew I was going to miss the appointment. Here's a check. And of course, I don't want to take it. You know, I don't, but
that's very, very sweet when you can develop that type of relationship. And here's something for you to think about as well, which I think is going to be very interesting. I agree with you wholeheartedly about, you know, knowing hairdressers that are great hairdressers, but, you know, can't have a conversation with their clients, and so, you know, they're never busy. So that part of the relationship is very, very important. Now, with the social distancing and the changes that are going to be implemented because of this coronavirus, it's going to be very, very interesting to see how relationships are nurtured and are grown. Because, you know, back in the day, you'd see your client that you've known for however long, and the first thing you do is give them a hug, maybe give them a kiss, massage their shoulders, whatever the case may be. Now that isn't, you know, now you can't do that. Right. So the closeness of the relationship will be affected. And one thing that I'd like to pass on to stylists and students alike is that chances are you'll be doing less clients, right? Because the whole double booking thing won't come back right away. You know, you'll be doing less clients. So that downtime that you have, you want to use it in a very highly motivated, highly positive way. And that's the time when you can reconnect with your clients, whether it's through a text, an email, a Facebook Live, or whatever the case is, where you can follow up. Hey, how was your haircut? I'm really sorry I didn't get a chance to give you a hug today. Right. That connection is really what's going to help you and what's going to help keep that client feeling confident and coming back in. So don't discount the power of touch and communication. It's just a different way. It might not necessarily be physical, but it might be through, you know.
I love that. I mean, focusing on that the relationship isn't just what happens when they're in for your appointment. And it doesn't matter if you're a hairdresser or a massage therapist or an esthetician
Absolutely.
or a nail technician. I mean, you can have a relationship with that person even outside of the appointments. And that's what helps keep them coming back. I mean, it's the thank you cards. It's, you know, commenting on their posts on social media, or, you know, doing a Facebook Live with a tutorial to kind of help them, you know, understand how to master their makeup or master their hair, or whatever it is that you're wanting to teach them about.
Correct. I think it's important too that not to be a Debbie Downer, but I think that with everything that's going on, we're going to see a huge shift in our industry. I think we're going to have a lot of places closing down. I think we're going to have a lot of people out of work. I think the whole idea of booth rental is going to change a lot. I'm a big proponent for united we stand, divided we fall, and I think being part of an organization like EFA, there's safety in numbers, and I think what you guys are doing with the academy and the salons and Prosper You is incredible, mm-hmm. and touching so many people and being able to communicate this way. It's a huge support system, and I think smaller salons that don't have that, or individual salons that don't have that, going to feel the pain of not being involved in this type of network. So, everyone has to really rethink their career path, to use the title of this talk, and figure out, which direction am I going? And if you're not quite sure, because I still don't know what I want to do when I grow up. You got to talk to, your peers, talk to your friends. Not everyone is going to have the answer for you, but I think the more perspective you get, the clearer your head will be,
I agree with that. And you're right. I think in all industries, you're going to see a fallout, not just the beauty business. The lower 20%, my prediction, and I don't care what you do, restaurants, bars, whatever, accounting firms are going by the wayside. But the good thing is about what we do is that everybody loves their hair. They all need their hair done. They want to get facials. They want to see their esthetician. They like to get their nails. They love to get their nails done. They like massage. They get the barbers are, getting barbering. I mean, I just did an interview with AP News about our governor, because she closes down and all this, and then she gets her hair cut in color. And they're like, well, what do you think about her getting her? She said her husband did it. I go, I don't think an old guy like that's never been to beauty school can do color and a haircut like that. I just don't think so. I think it just disparages us. And I take it as a personal affront that she would do that and say that. The fact that she said that, I said that downgrades what I do for a living, and the fact is, everybody wants to get their hair done. I've got a million texts from my friends. Do you think I could just come over for a minute and you could cut my hair? I mean, this is the one industry that is in such demand, and people feel good. They look good. They love their, service providers. And so I think this also presents a wonderful opportunity for the future to reinvent our industry. And yeah, maybe we'll have to spread the chairs out a little further apart and wear masks when we're doing facials and all that. But at the same time, people love us. This is one thing that we are non-negotiables with most of the public. And I know this for a fact. People would rather see their hairdresser than their dentist or their doctor or their accountant, and sometimes even more than their husband, so it's just
well, you said the magic word. They want to see us.
Right.
And it's rare that you want to go see the dentist or but you definitely want to go see your hairdresser or massage therapist or whatever, because you're going to have a happy ending. Oh wait, did I just say that?
So one of the things, Alex, that you're going to be happy
at the end of it.
So one of the things, Alex, that you said a little bit ago was when you're trying to figure out your career path, the more knowledge you have, the clearer your head will be, and the importance of finding coaches and mentors. So Alex and Eric, from both of you, where would be places that you would recommend somebody look for a mentor, and what kind of people should they look for, or if you have specific people to help guide them in finding out what their career path will be?
Sure. I mean, for me, it's, network sessions like this are key, right? I mean, hopefully, just by listening in on this conversation, you can kind of gauge a little bit about, what is this guy like? Maybe he'll give me 2 minutes out of his day. You can reach me at my website, alexioannou.com. I'm going to spell that for you, ALEXIOANNOU.com. Ioannou.com. I'm sure Jessica will do a much better job sending that out. You can reach me by email. I'm, during this time, I have the time, so it won't take forever for me to respond. But I'd be happy to help or talk to anyone if you've got any questions. You've got one of the best people on this screen right now, Mr. Eric Fisher. I would, for all of you guys, what is it, like 1,000 people watching now? Email him or text him every single day. Every single day. He's really good at responding. Ask him questions, drive him crazy. I mean, that's really the key. You want to get a different perspective. And then, of course, I've known Jessica for a while now. And, you don't become the big honcho at the EFA and Prosper You, for no reason, right? So congratulations on that, by the way. Thank you. So, don't be afraid to ask people questions and to ask what they think. What you have to be prepared for is their answer, right?
Love that.
You have to be prepared for to hear, you need to work harder. You need to practice more. You can't be late. You can't wear jeans with holes in them. You got to cover your midriff, whatever the case may be, right? These are the things that are going to help you in your career. And sometimes we take them too personal, right? I get clients, this isn't the first time I've had a beard, right? So the last time I had a beard, it was a lot bigger and bushier. And nearly every client said I looked like I was 50. And I go, well, I am. But, they prefer me without the beard. So, I cut it off, I grow it, blah, blah, blah. So you have to be open, you have to be flexible to hear constructive criticism. Yeah. That's the way you grow, I think.
I love your answer, and you have mentored many of our students here that went and worked for you. But I just think that it is so important. I remember, the best man at my wedding, a guy named Baker, and we were really close. We're from the same hometown, worked together. And we were doing some work in New York. There was a very famous guy named Chris John. Do you remember Chris John, the Dutch guy? He never even had a beauty license, but he was fabulous with putting hair.
Yes.
Undercut everybody. He was a sensation for Vogue. They loved him. His wife was his rep. And somebody recommended that he just write a letter to him and say, hey, I'd like to work for you. I'd like you to train me. I'd love to learn how you're so magical with your hands. French twist, those updos, how he styles hair for the covers of Vogue. I mean, he had 1 million covers of Vogue. So he wrote him this 3-page letter, and I looked at it. It was fabulous, saying, I'll come early. I'll stay late. I'll work through lunch. You don't have to do anything. I'll do it all. You don't even have to pay me. I'll sleep on a park bench. I just want to be dedicated to you. And he went and worked for him for years. Mm-hmm. And Chris John was out. He's a wonderful guy. He's a Dutch guy, wonderful guy. And he just presented himself in a way that he wasn't going to take no for an answer. He would show up on his doorstep if he had to, because he was hungry to learn. And he wasn't a great cutter, he wasn't a great colorist. What he did was magazine work. So Baker went on. He lived in Italy, he lived in France, he lived all over. I worked in LA for 8 years. He was in LA with me, West Hollywood, would see each other all the time. He lived in New York, and he did great. And that's all he did was style hair. Right. For magazines, shoots, commercials, and he made a great living doing it. But he had that mentor. If it wasn't for that mentor, I don't know if he would have accomplished everything that he did. And even my estheticians, when we're doing a makeup shoot and they bring me something that's pedestrian and just boring, I want to do a natural look. I go, this represents you. There is no excuse for you not to be a great makeup artist. Mm-hmm. Because look at Pat McGrath. Just copy some of her stuff. Look at Dick Page. Look at all these guys that are doing wonderful makeup. Yeah. And it's not that hard to emulate. And you need to go redo that makeup on that model and make me proud of you, because this will make you proud of yourself. This is not good enough. So even if you don't have access to somebody famous. Thank goodness with digital media and all the stuff that's happening that you can get on Instagram and, you know, find somebody really great and say, I want to be like this person and I'm going to be that good. I'm going to prepare myself. And when I consult with a lot of salon owners and school owners and hairdressers, and, you know, if they say, you know, do I need a receptionist? I've got this big salon. I'm like, don't bother me. You're not even in the game. Ante up, pay your dues, work a little harder. You know, of course, I'm militant about that. You know, if you want to be successful, you got to ask yourself, what are you willing to do? You know, right? What are you willing to do? You want to be great. What are you Are you willing to play Xbox, sit on the couch? Are you willing to, you know, get up early and work on that mannequin, stay up late, work on that mannequin, or, you know, practice on the makeup on whoever it happens to be? You just got to do it, you know? And I know how hard you're real laissez-faire, you're a cool guy. Well, I know how hard you worked, Alex.
Yes,
you know?
Absolutely. I mean, listen, you know, there's a magic word, right, that we use all the time, and it's called sacrifice, right? Yeah. What are you prepared to sacrifice, right? You know, again, social media, you can balance things way easier now than we ever did when we were training. I mean, I was just thinking as you were talking about, you know, just your school, right, and the people that you bring in, you know, at your annual event to teach and to help inspire people. I mean, you've had some great people, right? Luis Alvarez, Anne Bray, Nogo Martinez, Robert Brown from Goldwell. I mean, these are like giants, you know, that travel all over the place, and it's there for free. That's the magic word, for free. These people would charge thousands of dollars a day to you know, come in and do a class. And you know, you as the person learning have to step out of that comfort zone and take a chance and go listen to someone talk and go watch someone's work. You know, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? You're going to learn something.
Yeah.
You know? I'm always one for the maybe. Maybe if I go, this might happen. If I don't go, I know what's going to happen. Nothing.
Nothing.
Right? I always go for the maybe versus the nothing. So
I love that. That's really good. So I used to tell my son when he played basketball, and he was at first kind of reluctant to shoot. And I go, you know, you're going to miss every basket that you don't shoot.
Oh, that's a great Wayne Gretzky quote.
Yeah,
you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. So take a chance. And, you know, it's like paint on the wall. You know, I saw this YouTube video. It's called Where Good Ideas Have Sex. And it was, everybody's got these ideas and none of them are good. But when you put them together, they're magical. And just like my career, you know, and you were saying that I've been around the world doing all this, I didn't really have that as a goal. You know, I started, you know, I remember doing a makeup job in Hawaii, and there were some Greeks there, and they go, hey, Greek boy, come drink espresso with us. You know, you do great makeup. Can you do hair? I go, yeah, that's what I do. And then the next thing I know, I'm working in Greece for Cosmopolitan or Cosmopolitan magazine. And had I known that, you know, did I plan on that? No. It just, you put yourself out there, and one thing leads to another, and that's the way it works. But if you're
so important, so important.
Yeah, is that the truth or what? Yeah,
it's so important. And you know, many things I think happen by chance, right? By being in the right place. But if you don't have the goods to deliver, then you miss out.
You got to be prepared. You got to have your chops down.
Exactly.
Otherwise, it's just like this girl, you know, I was picking up some trash in front of my place the other day. And, you know, and I love all my people. We're a team, you know, I handpicked everybody. And I'm picking up trash. She goes, I don't understand. What are you doing? I said, I'm picking up trash. I said, did you tell me one time that you'd love to be a manager, run one of my salons? She goes, yeah. I go, guess what managers do? They behave like a manager should behave before they're the manager. It's not like you got a switch that you just turn off and on. It's like you got to start getting in the game, you know. You got to start modeling the kind of behavior of what whatever it is that you want to go for. You know,
there's something, about integrity, right? I love this quote. Integrity is doing the right thing, even when no one is looking. Right?
That's good.
So picking up the trash, even though Eric isn't around, right?
Yeah.
Cleaning the bathroom, even though.
Yeah. Changing the light bulb. Yeah. I agree.
That's integrity. And I think if you have integrity, that comes through with everything that you do. And people see that, people realize that. And I think that's key. This is career path talk, right? I always believe I can take a monkey and teach them how to cut hair, but the integrity part, the passion part, the wanting to do better with each one, that comes from what's in your heart, what's in your brain.
Different dynamic. Yeah, no question.
I'm going to try the whole monkey thing, by the way.
Record it. Let us know how it goes. We want to see videos or it doesn't happen.
You'll probably do a better job than me.